I was at the slide with my daughter when a little boy ran up to me. Mister, he asked, can I have your daughter? Chucking it up to dumb kid talk. I just laughed. She's my whole world, buddy. Can't just give her away. He looked me dead in the eye. So what if she died? Would you be sad? Then I scooped at my daughter, feeling a cold dread crawl up my spine. I've never seen this kid before. This playground was a community project. I knew pretty much every little brat who came to play here. My gut screamed that this kid was a scout for some scumbag kidnapper. I got my daughter the hell out of there. Back home, I laid down the law. Stay away from that playground for a while. Don't go near that boy. And for fuck's sake, don't take any candy from him or go anywhere with him. My daughter just nodded, her eyes wide. A few days later, my daughter drops a bombshell. She saw the boy leading the daughter of the woman who runs the bakery across the street away somewhere. She'd thought about following, but she remembered what I said and chickened out. The bakery is run by a single mom named Hannah and her 4-year-old, Katie. She's divorced and everyone in the neighborhood knows she has it tough. So we all try to look out for her. I immediately called Hannah, but the call went straight to voicemail. She must have been out on a cake delivery. About an hour and a half later, Hannah burst into my diner like a goddamn hurricane. Wild-eyed and frantic, she grabbed my daughter by the shoulders. Where's Katie? Tell me. My daughter was so scared, she could barely speak. I told Hannah to call 911 right away, then went with her to search. But the trail went cold. The second they crossed the main road, the cops were on it fast. Using my description and footage from nearby security cameras, they found the boy that same night. His name was Leo. Leo swore up and down he hadn't taken Katie. His parents backed him up, flying through their teeth that their son had been home all day. The cops showed them the surveillance footage, blowing their bullshit story to pieces. That's when Leo, the little shit, finally mumbled, I'm not 12 yet, so I don't have to go to jail, right? Leo led us to a derelict construction site nearby and pointed to a small freshly dug pit in the ground. She's in there. The cops dug away the loose dirt and found a styrofoam cooler, kind you get from Amazon deliveries. They pried the lid open. Katie was crammed inside, curled into a ball. Her eyes were wide open, her mouth slightly agape, her face a mask of pure terror. Hannah just fucking broke. She lunged at Leo, trying to tear him apart, but the cops managed to hold her back. The police had Leo recount the whole thing. His clarity, his step-by-step logic sent a fucking icicle through my heart. Leo said he found the pit at the construction site and got the idea to bury something alive in it. First he tried a stray cat, but it scratched its way out, immediately a failure. So Leo switched his target to a kid, but the hole was too small. So the little psychopath tied 2 shoelaces together to measure the pit's dimensions. Whenever he found a potential target, he'd measure them with a shoelace first before trying to snatch them. He also said he only picked little girls. They were easier to control. And he added, their bodies are softer, easier to fold. Did you kill her first, then put her in? One of the cops asked. His voice tight, Leo shook his head. I had her lie down in it herself. He'd set up a sick game. First, he had Katie lie down in a couple of big cardboard boxes and gave her chocolates, making her think it was all for fun. Then he told her to get into the styrofoam cooler he placed in the pit. Katie, trusting him completely, did it without a second thought. Once she was in, I put the wooden board over the top, stacked a few bricks on it, and started burying it. Leo said Katie started struggling, so he jumped on top of the board and stomped on it a few times until she stopped moving. Hannah didn't even make it through the whole story before she collapsed. The cops rushed her to the hospital. I overheard one of the veteran cops muttering, Jesus fucking Christ. All my years on the force, I've never seen an animal like this. If his parents weren't here, I'd beat the shit out of this little fucker myself. Once word got out about what happened to Katie, the whole neighborhood was up in arms. People kept coming to me asking for Leo's address, wanting to get some payback for Hannah. But the law protects the privacy of juvenile offenders. The cops made it crystal clear. If I leaked any of Leo's personal information, I'd be held liable. A few days later, Hannah came to my diner sobbing. The DA was dropping the case. The reason Leo was under 12. No criminal liability. The police had no choice but to close the case according to the law. I was fucking speechless. Leo murdered a child. And he wouldn't even see the inside of a courtroom, let alone a jail cell. What kind of justice is that? The cop said even if I sue, the prosecutor won't take the case. Most I can do is file a civil suit for damages against his parents. But what amount of money can bring my daughter back? Oh, who can give me justice for her? Hannah cried so hard it looked like her eyes were bleeding. To make matters a million times worse, Leo's parents wouldn't even apologize. They just stopped answering Hannah's calls. Even when the police tried to mediate, They just said they were busy. No time to deal with her. My wife. Her. Heartbreaking for Hannah. Made her some soup. We're all mothers, she said softly. Some things happen and there's nothing anyone can do. You're still young. You can meet someone. Have another baby. Think of it as Katie coming back to you. Hannah's voice was a raw whisper. Can't get over it. Every time I close my eyes, I hear her crying, telling me she can't rest in peace. My heart feels like it's been stabbed 100 fucking times. We're all parents. We felt her pain in our bones. We convinced her to at least claim Katie's body and arrange the funeral. Could think about lawsuits later. The wake was held in her bakery. All the neighbors came. It was just an endless loop of empty condolences. Hannah cried until she had nothing left, numb to everything. During the gathering, Frank from the barbecue joint said that maybe Hannah should have been more careful. And a bunch of the women fucking eviscerated him. Why don't you try watching a kid for one day, you asshole? You think we don't have to eat or piss big? Tony the butcher chain smoked, his face grim. If this happened to my kid, I'd got that little bastard myself. Jail time, be damned it. The damn shame. A good woman like Hannah doesn't have a man to go to bat for her. Hannah doesn't have much family, so my wife and I helped out where we could. My daughter Lily was playing near the door. I called her over, telling her not to wander off. Just nodded silently. I thought that was weird. Usually she'd argue back. Today she was a perfect little angel. Then she grinned, and my blood ran cold. I saw the chocolate smeared on her teeth. We banned her from sweets because of her cavities. Did Hannah give you that? She shook her head. A boy gave it to me. What boy? The one who took Katie, he said. Katie didn't finish. These wave of pure cold terror washed over me. I immediately handed Lily to my wife and told her, watch her. Don't let her out of your sight for a single fucking second. I got a few guys together and we searched the area, but there was no sign of Leo. The little shit had vanished. The more I thought about it, the more I panicked. What if Leo had just grabbed my daughter instead? Found another little ditch and buried her? 2. I absolutely could not let that happen. That night, I secretly told Hannah that Leo had approached my daughter. Her eyes blazed with fury. She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. Next time you tell me sooner, I'll kill him myself. I looked at the black and white photo of Katie, her little toothy smile frozen in time. I made a decision. Do you really want revenge? I asked quietly. I have a way and I can make sure you don't go to jail for it. Hannah didn't hesitate for a second. She agreed. So I had my daughter play outside like normal, while Hannah and I took turns watching from the shadows, waiting for Leo. We kept this up for almost a month. Finally, I saw him, the sneaky little fuck, lurking around the playground again. I called Lily, told her to head home now. Just as I predicted, Leo started following her. I was right behind him in my van on a street with no cameras. I snatched him. I took him to the warehouse behind Hannah's bakery. She was waiting. A photo of Katie on a small table, with a stick of incense burning in front of it. It's okay, sweetie, she whispered to the photo. Mommy's going to help you rest now. Leo was crying and struggling. Mister, Mom. I'm just a kid. How can you hurt a kid? How can you hurt a kid? Leo's voice wasn't trembling. It was pitched perfectly. A high, wavering soprano of innocence that had probably worked on teachers, neighbors, and his parents his entire life. But his eyes were dry. They darted around the dimly lit warehouse, assessing the stacks of 50-pound flour sacks, the industrial mixers, and the thick, sound-dampening brick walls. Hannah didn't scream. She didn't strike him. She just walked closer, her movements heavy, like she was wading through deep water. She stopped inches from the chair where we'd zip-tied Leo's wrists and ankles. You're not a kid, Hannah whispered. Her voice sounded like dead leaves skittering on pavement. Kids make mistakes. Kids break windows. You're a cancer. My dad is a lawyer, Leo said, dropping the scared act instantly. The speed of the switch made my stomach turn. His face went slack, bored. If you let me go now, I can say I ran away. If you keep me here, that's kidnapping. That's a felony. Minimum 20 years. I stepped forward, grabbing the back of the chair and tilting it so his face was inches from mine. Listen to me, you little broken thing. The law already said you don't exist. You're under 12, remember? No criminal liability. That cuts both ways. To the system, you're a ghost. And ghosts don't get found. Leo blinked. For the first time, a crack appeared in his porcelain mask. He realized the logic that had protected him was now the very thing that made him vulnerable. Hannah, I said, not looking away from the boy. Do you have it? Hannah turned to a pile of supplies we had staged earlier. She pulled out a styrofoam cooler. It wasn't an Amazon box this time. It was an industrial one used for shipping frozen fish. Thick. Airtight. Leo's breathing hitched.
No.
It's too small for him. I noted, my voice detached. I felt like I was watching a movie of myself. The morality of what we were doing was screaming in the back of my head, but the image of Katie, curled up, face frozen in terror, drowned it out. He's soft, Hannah said, repeating Leo's own words back to him. He'll fold. We didn't put him in the box yet. We left it there, open, right in front of him. Hannah sat on a crate opposite him, staring. I had to go back to the diner. If both of us were missing, people would talk. I'll be back in 2 hours, I told her. Don't kill him yet. He needs to understand. Hannah didn't look at me. She was burning incense in front of Katie's picture, the smoke curling around Leo like a spectral snake.
Go, she said.
Walking back into the diner felt like stepping onto an alien planet. The air smelled of grease and coffee. The radio was playing some upbeat pop song, and regular people were eating burgers. They didn't know that 3 blocks away, a monster was taped to a chair. Hey, hon, my wife said, kissing my cheek as I walked behind the counter. You look pale. You okay? Just a headache. I lied. Where's Lily? Upstairs, watching cartoons. She's been quiet today. My heart hammered against my ribs.
Quiet.
That's how it starts. I poured myself a black coffee, my hands shaking so bad I spilled some on the counter. Did you hear? Big Tony shouted from a booth, waving a fork. Police cruisers are swarming Leo Street. Little bastard's gone missing. Maybe he ran off to join the circus, Frank laughed, though it was a nervous sound. Good riddance. They're saying he was snatched. Tony lowered his voice. Parents are screaming about a van. I froze. My van was a generic white Ford, the kind half the contractors in the city drove. But still, paranoia is a cold sweat that never dries. The door chimed. The diner went silent. Detective Miller walked in. He looked like he hadn't slept in a week. His gray suit was rumpled, and his eyes were scanning the room, not looking for a table, but looking for reactions. He walked straight to the counter. Afternoon, Miller, I said, wiping a spot on the laminate. Coffee.
Leo's gone, Miller said. No preamble.
I heard. Tony was just saying. Miller leaned in, his elbows resting on the counter. You have a white van for your supply runs, don't you? Me and half the city, I said, keeping my voice steady. I was at the wholesale market this morning. I have receipts. I did. I had made sure to buy a sack of potatoes and some onions before I picked up Hannah. Receipts are good, Miller said, studying my face. You know, usually when a kid goes missing, I feel sick. With this one, I feel scared. Not for the kid, but for whoever took him. Because that boy isn't normal. If someone took him thinking they're teaching him a lesson, they're going to find out that you don't teach a shark not to bite. Maybe he just ran away, I suggested.
Guilt.
Miller laughed, a harsh, barking sound. That kid doesn't have guilt. He has boredom. If you hear anything, call me. Don't try to be a hero. And don't try to be an executioner. He left a $10 bill on the counter and walked out. I went to the bathroom and dry heaved into the toilet for 5 minutes. Then I washed my face, went out the back door, and headed to the bakery. When I got back to the warehouse, the dynamic had shifted. Leo wasn't crying anymore. He was talking. So really, it's your fault she got in the box, Leo was saying calmly. Shut up, Hannah whispered. She was trembling, holding a heavy rolling pin. I mean, think about it, Leo continued, his voice smooth. You're a single mom. You're busy. You wanted her to be independent, right? You taught her to trust people. If you had been a better mother, she wouldn't have been so desperate for attention that she followed a stranger for a piece of chocolate. Shut your mouth, I roared, stepping out of the shadows. Leo turned his head to me. He smiled. Ah, the sidekick returns. I was just helping Hannah process her grief. He's been doing this for an hour, Hannah said, her eyes wide and bloodshot. He's picking apart my life. He knows things. How does he know things? I listen, Leo shrugged. People think kids don't hear. I hear everything. I know you, he looked at me. I know your daughter Lily wets the bed when she's scared. I know your wife had an affair 3 years ago with a collision repair guy. The air left my lungs. That was a secret we had buried deep. See? Leo giggled. Everyone has a box. Everyone has dirt they want to hide. You think you're burying me? I'm already in your head. I walked over and taped his mouth shut. Thick, silver duct tape. Don't listen to him, I told Hannah. He's a sociopath. He's trying to break us. It's true though, Hannah said, looking at the cooler. If I had been there.
No.
I grabbed her shoulders. Focus. This is for Katie. Tonight we finish it. Tonight? Miller came to the diner. The heat is on. We can't keep him here for a month. We have to do it tonight. Hannah nodded. She looked at the cooler, then at the floor. The pit. We need a pit. The basement, I said. The bakery had an old coal cellar from the 1920s. It was subground, accessible only by a trapdoor in the warehouse floor.
Dirt floor.
Soundproof. We spent the next 3 hours digging. The physical labor helped burn off the adrenaline. Leo watched us the whole time, his eyes gleaming above the tape. He didn't look like a victim. He looked like an audience member at a play he found mildly amusing. When the hole was deep enough, 4 feet, just like the one he dug for Katie, we stopped. I went to Leo and cut the tape on his ankles. Get up. He didn't move. I hauled him up. He was light. Surprisingly light for so much evil. You're going to kill me? Leo asked, his voice muffled by the tape. I ripped the tape off his mouth. I wanted him to beg. I wanted him to apologize. We're going to give you a choice, I said. Hannah stepped forward. She held a small bottle of water and a single chocolate bar. The wrapper crinkled in the silence. You said you played a game, Hannah said. You gave her a choice. So we give you one. You can get in the box, or I can beat you until you can't walk, and then I put you in the box. Leo looked at the cooler, then at the hole. He looked at Hannah. My parents will sue you, he said. They'll take your bakery. They'll take your diner. They'll take your daughter. Your parents think you're dead, I said. Get in. Leo stood there for a long moment. Then, with a sigh that sounded like a teenager asked to take out the trash, he stepped toward the cooler. He climbed in. He had to fold his legs tight. He had to hunch his neck. It was a tight fit. It's dark in here, Leo said. His voice echoed slightly from the styrofoam. I know, Hannah said. She picked up the lid. Wait, Leo said. We paused. I expected a plea. A cry for his mother. Make sure you put the heavy bricks on top, Leo said. The cat got out because the lid was too light. Don't make the same mistake I did. A chill went through me so violent I almost dropped the flashlight. He was critiquing us. He was coaching us on his own murder. Hannah slammed the lid down. We heard a muffled laugh from inside. Then we threw the dirt. 1 week. It had been 1 week since we filled the hole in the coal cellar and dragged heavy pallets of flour over the trapdoor. The news was a firestorm. The boy who vanished. Leo's mother was on TV every night, weeping without tears. His father was threatening the police department with lawsuits for incompetence. The neighborhood was strange. It was quiet. The tension that had gripped us when Katie died had been replaced by a heavy, suffocating blanket of complicity. No one said anything, but everyone knew something had happened. They saw Hannah working the dough at 4 a.m. again. They saw me at the grill. They saw the way we didn't look at the police when they drove by. But the silence wasn't peace. It was rot. Hannah wasn't getting better. She was getting worse. She spent all her time in the warehouse, sitting on the pallets. I can't hear him, she told me one night when I brought her dinner. Hannah, he's gone. The oxygen ran out in 3 hours. It's been a week. No, she whispered, her ear pressed to the floor. He's scratching. Listen. I listened. Silence. Just the hum of the refrigerator. He's scratching and he's whispering, she insisted. He's telling me about Katie. He says she was calling for me at the end. That's in your head. Is it? She looked at me, and I saw a madness there that terrified me more than Leo ever did. Or is he just stronger than us? I went home that night and checked on Lily. She was asleep. I sat by her bed, watching her chest rise and fall.
Daddy.
I jumped. Lily was awake, staring at me. Hey, princess. Go back to sleep. Is the boy coming back? She asked.
No.
He's gone far away. Lily sat up. She reached under her pillow and pulled out something. It was a shoelace. A dirty, white sneaker shoelace with a knot tied in the middle.
He gave me this, she said.
Before he left, my blood turned to ice.
When?
When did he give you this? Before the bad lady took him. Bad lady? Mrs. Hannah. I saw her put him in your van. He dropped this and winked at me. I stared at the shoelace. It was a measurement. A knot for the head, a knot for the feet. Lily, I choked out. Why didn't you tell me? He said it was a secret. He said if I told, he would come out of the ground and pull me down with him. I grabbed the shoelace and ran out of the room. I threw it in the kitchen trash and buried it under coffee grounds, my hands shaking uncontrollably. He had his hooks in my daughter. Even from the grave, he was terrorizing her. The breaking point came 3 days later. Detective Miller walked into the diner again. This time, he didn't order coffee. He walked back to the kitchen and motioned for me to follow him outside. We found something, Miller said. My heart stopped. What? Leo's computer. Tech Boys finally cracked his encrypted cloud drive. We found a journal. A digital diary. I leaned against the brick wall of the alley, trying to keep my knees from buckling. And he wrote about Katie. The details, only the killer would know. Miller lit a cigarette. But the last entry. It was dated the day he disappeared. Time-stamped 10 minutes before he vanished. What did it say? Miller exhaled a plume of smoke. It said, "The baker and the cook are watching me. I'm going to let them take me. It will be the ultimate game. If I win, I live forever in their heads. If I lose, I just go to sleep. But I'm leaving a breadcrumb. Miller turned his gaze to me. It wasn't the look of a cop looking at a suspect. It was the look of a man looking at a tragedy. A breadcrumb. I repeated.
His phone, Miller said.
He didn't have it on him when he vanished. We thought he dropped it. But the GPS just pinged. It turned on for 10 seconds, then died. Where? Behind the bakery. In the warehouse. I felt the world tilt. Leo must have hidden a burner phone on him. Or maybe he set a timer. Or maybe Hannah turned it on. I have a warrant, Miller said softly. I have a team coming in 20 minutes. I'm telling you this because I know you're a good man who got pushed too far. If there's anything you need to tell me now. Once those dogs get here, it's over. I looked at Miller. I thought about prison. I thought about Lily growing up without a father. I thought about Hannah, driven mad by grief and the ghost of a boy beneath her floor. There's nothing to tell, I said. Search the warehouse. Miller sighed, flicking his cigarette away. God help you. I ran to the bakery. I burst into the warehouse. Hannah was there, holding a shovel. She had moved the pallets. She was digging. Hannah, stop. She looked up, wild-eyed. He's texting me? He's texting me from the box.
What?
She held up her phone. A text message from an unknown number. It's cold. Let me out. I want to play. He's dead, Hannah. It's a scheduled message. He set it up to torture you.
No.
I heard him. She struck the dirt with the shovel. He's alive. The police are coming. I grabbed the shovel. We have to cover this up.
No.
I have to see. She fought me, scratching at my face. I have to see his face. Sirens wailed in the distance.
Approaching fast.
Hannah, listen to me. If they find him, we go to jail for life. Katie gets no justice. This isn't justice, she screamed. This is hell. I'm in hell. She shoved me back and drove the shovel down hard. It hit something with a hollow thud. The styrofoam cooler. She fell to her knees and clawed at the dirt. She ripped the lid off. The smell hit us first. The smell of death. Leo was there. Curled up.
Blue.
Decayed. He was undeniably dead. See? I gasped.
He's dead.
Now cover it. We have 5 minutes. Hannah stared at the body. Then she began to laugh. A high, shrieking laugh. Look, she pointed. I looked closer. In Leo's stiff, dead hand, he was clutching something. It was a picture. A Polaroid. It wasn't a picture of Katie. It was a picture of me. Taken from inside my house, through the window, while I was watching TV. And written on the bottom in Sharpa, player 2. He was in your house, Hannah wheezed. Before we took him. He was in your house. The sirens cut beneath the garage door. Tires screeched. Police. Open up. I looked at the dead boy, the picture, and the shovel. I looked at Hannah, who was now cradling the cooler lid like a baby. I realized then that Leo had told the truth. He was a cancer. We had cut him out, but the metastasis was already everywhere. I grabbed the shovel. I didn't try to fill the hole. There was no time. I walked to the warehouse door and opened it. Detective Miller stood there with his gun drawn, a SWAT team behind him.
It's over, Miller said.
I stepped aside.
Yeah.
It is. 2 years later. The trial was a sensation. The baker and the cook. That's what the tabloids called us. Because of the circumstances. The murder of Katie, the failure of the justice system, the psychological torture Leo had inflicted. The jury was lenient. 2nd-degree manslaughter. Emotional distress. I got 10 years. Hannah got 15. They said she was the mastermind. Prison is loud. But it's better than the silence of that warehouse. My wife brings Lily to visit once a month. Lily is 9 now.
She's tall.
She looks like her mother. We talk through the glass. We talk about school, about the diner, which Tony runs now, about the weather. How are you sleeping? I asked her during our last visit. Good, Lily said. She smiled. There was something about her smile. It didn't reach her eyes. Daddy, she asked. Yeah, baby. Do you remember the boy?
La.
I stiffened. We don't talk about him. I know, she said. She leaned closer to the glass. But sometimes, when I'm at the playground, I see the new kids. The little ones. She glanced at the guard, then back at me. Some of them are so dumb, she whispered. They'll believe anything if you give them candy. My hands pressed against the glass. Lily, what are you saying? She sat back, her face smooth, unreadable. An echo of a face I had seen in a warehouse 2 years ago. I'm just saying, she said, her voice a perfect, innocent soprano. It's easy to make friends. Easier if you know how to measure them first. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a piece of string. She wound it around her finger, tight. Time to go, the guard barked. Lily stood up. Bye, Daddy.
Don't worry about me.
I know how to play the game now. I watched her walk away, her ponytail bouncing. I screamed. I banged my fists against the reinforced glass until my knuckles bled, and the guards dragged me away. But she didn't turn back. Leo was dead. He was rotting in a grave marked by the state. But he hadn't lost. He had simply passed the controller to player 3.